Hey folks, it's Andrew from Co.Wicklow here again, and today we're going to be talking about bees because I want to put in a beehive, and I have one of Ireland's experts here, Olly from Olly's farm. Olly, do you want to tell the guys a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, my name's Olly. Olly Nolan here from Olly's farm. I'm based up in the Dublin Mountains here in Glenasmole, right up at 200 metres above sea level, looking down over the city. I started beekeeping back in 2012 with one beehive, and then I moved up here to the farm, and I only really ever wanted to have one or two beehives as part of the small holding because I produce all my own food here. And now I'm running about 320 to 340 beehives everywhere from Lucan Village down to Pariscourt Estate over to Kilruddery House and Gardens in Bray. So it's pretty intense.
And of course you have your own Olly's Farm Bee Honey award-winning honey
yeah.
brand.
It's like it's just all just kind of, I don't know, kind of happened organically. Like over the years, one hive became two. That's one thing about beekeeping. It's easy to make more bees. It's not as easy to make honey because you need to keep the bees in the box.
Okay.
So, like a lot of ways of increasing is just if you have one beehive, you can split it into two or three and so on. So yeah, I literally went up to 300 plus hives over the last few years, and
okay, well that's way out of my range, but for a complete kind of numbskull like me who wants to get started, what's involved in setting up my own hive?
Well, you need a hive, you need some bees, you need some pretty much basic equipment just to get started.
Yeah, we had actually where our home little farm or vegetable garden is, we actually had 3 or 4 hives there. Now I didn't run them. It was a guy, I'd let him keep the bees there, and it was incredible when he put the hives in, how it was like somebody flicked a switch on our apple trees, on our fruit, where everything just suddenly went up a gear.
It's incredible.
Amazing.
They're very efficient pollinators.
Yeah.
That's because I have here, like in the orchard, like I suppose on the farm about 70 to maybe 70 to 80 fruit trees here.
Yeah.
And it's incredible. Like without the bees, fruit yields are small.
Yeah,
you know?
No,
when you have the bees, it's incredible.
I found there was a massive difference, and as you mentioned the orchard here, then obviously this is a really good place to have bees, and we have some hives here back in the background here. Olly was saying we don't want to get too close because we would be in the flight path of the bees, but for like say somebody in an urban situation where if they have even a garden without any greenery in it, is it possible to start a beehive?
Yeah,
there?
and like I always get that question about people, because I keep bees on the roof of Teeling's Whiskey Distillery, and it's, I suppose, like one of the examples I always use. I've about 10 hives up there on the roof. People always say, like, the bees make honey in the city? How?
Yeah.
Where? And I go, well, they fly, 3 to 5 kilometre radius, basically foraging. So the bees on the roof will be over in Stephen's Green, Merrion Square, up and down the Royal and Grand Canals.
Yeah.
They do get around.
Okay, right, yeah. And then for me to set up then the expertise that I need, obviously it's going to be a little bit involved. There's a lot to learn there. Do you need to do a beekeeping course, or what help is out there, I suppose in Ireland in particular, but anywhere, to get you started?
Well, in the UK and Ireland, we've got basically beekeeping associations all over the place.
Yeah.
Like here in Dublin, we have the County Dublin Beekeepers. Down in Galway, we have another one down there, or maybe there's 2 down there. We've Cork Beekeepers, all over the place. And it's really easy to join.
Yeah.
Like you just literally go to them, join, costs about 70 quid a year. That gives you your insurance, loads of training. They run usually beekeeping courses over the winter.
Yeah.
So you have lots to learn. I never done a beekeeping course. I just literally went on YouTube and watched every video I could, bought loads of books. But I probably would recommend.
Yeah, okay. So there's plenty of help out there, and for 70 quid for the year, that's for nothing.
For nothing. Yeah.
Okay, so then I think the next big question the people watching are going to be asking, what do I need? Obviously we need a hive, presumably we need a beekeeping suit so we don't get stung. So can you show us some of the equipment, or our kind of essentials that we might need?
Yeah, we'll show you inside, but we'll go into the honey house and I'll show you some of the equipment in there.
Perfect. So I suppose there's plenty of things you could have, but these are what? These are the absolute essentials.
Exactly, absolute essentials. Probably number 1 for safety.
Yeah.
The bee suit. Bee suits are important because you don't want to get stung. It's real easy for me to get into them now. It's just jump in, straight in and out. And then obviously it has a hole, needs a bit of repair this winter.
Not a protective, is that the actual suit? Is it made for something that a sting can't get through?
No, it's literally just what you call it, basic cotton, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like and it just keeps it. This one needs repairing, obviously, as you can see.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. That's wellies kind of help. Some people say push the suit in, others put over.
Yeah.
You should put them in. Bees like to walk up.
Yeah.
So if you have them here
They'll
and
go
it's
up.
loose, they go up. Whereas if you put them in here, even though it looks like you're more exposed,
Yeah, yeah. They're
bees
not-
tend to walk up. They
Yeah.
rarely go down
Oh, I
unless
see,
they're really
okay.
aggressive.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's really the bee suit.
Great.
It protects you. You don't want to get stung in the face because you can look like the elephant man very quick.
And it is the case,
swelling up.
is it not? I'm asking the question that if bees sting you, that they then release pheromones that will attract other
They
bees
do.
to sting you. Is
Yeah.
that right?
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
attack. And
Yeah.
sometimes when bees start attacking, it's very hard for them to basically turn off that attack mode.
Okay, right.
So, I always say walk nice and slowly because I run here like in the summer beekeeping experience courses.
Yeah.
And, people come 3-4 hours and some people do be terrified of bees.
Yeah.
I had this lady last year whose husband thought it was a great idea to bring her along.
Yeah.
And she was terrified. But by
Right.
the end of it, she was really calm, nice and calm.
Got used to it.
Got used to it. So
Okay.
bee suit number 1.
Yeah.
Number 2 is the smoker. So the smoker works on the way that the bees in the wild, when they smell smoke, they think it's basically a forest fire.
Okay.
Because they could live in a small hollow of a tree in a forest.
Sure.
So when they smell smoke, they think forest fire, basically our house is going to burn down. So what they do is they need to leave and make a new house. But what they do is they bring lots and lots of honey with them.
Yeah.
So they consume lots and lots of honey.
Yeah.
As a result, they can't sting.
Oh, right.
So
okay.
they can't bend their abdomens round, and it makes them. We say, like if you've had, we'd say, like a large feed.
Yeah.
You're kind of a little bit sleepy and a little bit docile. So
Okay.
that works the same thing. So
Yeah.
usually you come along to the entrance of the hive would be here.
Yeah.
And you just give a couple of puffs of smoke into the entrance.
Yeah.
And that wafts through the hive.
Yeah.
And you will see when you take out frames, you'll actually see the bees have their heads down the cells.
Gorging themselves
of honey.
Yeah.
And you just wait maybe a few minutes and just let that happen.
Okay, so it's not necessarily that it makes them docile, it's more that they just can't bend over to sting.
It's a bit of both, yeah.
Okay, right. Okay.
So smoke is important.
Yeah.
And like another question I get asked all the time, what do you use in the smoker?
Yeah.
Anything that's not toxic. I've used anything from basically newspaper egg cartons, pine needles.
All right,
But
okay,
my
yeah.
new favourite one at the moment is basically the Hessian sack from coffee beans.
Okay, yeah.
So a lot of coffee bean roasteries have these bags and
Yeah.
they're brilliant for beekeepers. One piece of that rolled up and burnt will last for hours.
Okay.
And it gives a nice cool smoke because you
Lovely.
don't want a hot smoke that's
Yeah.
going to basically burn the bees.
Yeah.
So smoker number 1.
Okay.
Number 2 is a hive tool.
Yep.
Simple little thing. It's just for moving the frames. They come in all different shapes and sizes.
Yeah.
And then obviously your hive.
Yeah. And then the actual hive, then you obviously, this is a kind of a plasticky type
This is
of hive.
polystyrene.
Polystyrene, you can buy those?
Yeah, you can buy them. There's
Yeah.
all different types. All like here in Ireland and the UK, they mainly use the British National,
Yeah.
which would be the hive, and then some of the larger lads would use a commercial. I tried them all.
Yeah.
I found the National early on too small.
Yeah.
The way we're always trying to make our livestock more productive.
Yeah.
We see like hens laying more eggs, cows
Right, yeah.
producing more milk. We're the same with the bees.
Yeah, of
like
course,
over the
yeah.
years, we've been always breeding from the strongest, the ones that produce the most honey.
Yeah, of course.
As a result, I find the National box is too small
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
like,
for production.
for production.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
as a result, I use Langstroth. It's actually the guy that invented the removable frame. Because
Yeah.
before then, basically bees used to be kept in a skep.
Yeah.
And they had to basically euthanize the bees before they'd harvest the honey.
Okay.
So this guy, Langstroth, invented the removable frame.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it's the most popular hive used in the world.
Yeah.
So it's just a roof. And then you've got these frames inside.
And there is that what you call the super? No.
No, this is the brood box.
That's the brood box.
So any box can be a brood box. It's literally where the queen lives.
Yeah.
So it's where the queen lives and they make the new baby bees.
Okay.
That's the brood box. And then the extra boxes we put on are
They're
basically
the
called
supers.
yeah.
Okay, right. Sorry, I thought, so these are, what are these called? Frames?
Frames.
Ah, right,
So
okay,
these
yeah.
are my frames.
Yeah.
I use plastic foundation on a lot of them. So
Yeah.
this is basically food grade plastic that I coat in my own beeswax. So
Yeah.
when I scrape off all this bit of comb, that's in the way, or the cappings off, when I'm extracting the honey,
Yeah.
I literally melt it down, filter it, and then I paint it onto these frames. And then the bees build this. So
And is
this was
that-
all built by the bees.
So then, but this initial shape is just to get them going.
It's get them going.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So that'd be what I'd used to do.
Yeah.
So you can see here, this is trying to see if it's a plastic frame. It's hard to tell sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this was a plastic frame that the bees built themselves.
Yeah.
It used to look like that.
Yeah.
And the bees build it out, and this is a brood frame. So
Okay.
you can see it gets very dark and dirty because, you know, they're constantly laying eggs in it and
Yeah.
young bees are emerging from it.
Okay.
So you need a box like this. You need a box like this, and then you'll need a queen excluder, and then maybe 2 or 3 supers to put the honey.
Okay,
And
so
that's it.
the ones on top are producing the honey.
Yeah, the ones on top are
You're
producing
never
the honey.
opening. You're never opening this.
I never take the honey out of this, but
Yeah,
you
okay.
do need to inspect this every week during the season to make sure they don't swarm.
Yeah, and sorry, just when you said you have a queen excluder, why do we need to keep the queen out of the other ones?
Because you're going to be taking the honey away, and you don't want young bees hatching out of the frames.
Oh, okay, right.
So
And then
you
the
try and keep all the breeding in the bottom box.
And then is the queen excluder, I mean, I know so little, but I know the queen is bigger. So is it just a hole that's a different size? Or
Exactly,
how
yeah.
does that work?
Yeah, it's just, do I have one here? I have one down the corner somewhere.
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
grab one after and show you.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, literally, it's exactly the name, queen excluder. It excludes the queen, so it keeps the queen in here, and
Yeah.
she can't get up. But the workers can pass freely. Naturally, the bees like to store the honey over the nest,
Yeah.
so it's actually perfect.
Okay,
And it
yeah.
puts them up. If you had, there are some people that will run their hives with no queen excluder, but the natural shape of the nest will be like an egg.
Yeah.
So the queen will come up and lay.
Okay.
But then when you want to harvest the honey, you can't.
Oh, right.
Because it's literally full of young bees about
Yeah.
to hatch.
Okay.
So it just keeps things nice and tidy.
And then can I just ask on the polystyrene then, presumably that is for insulation? Like, you know the way, like I've seen a lot of wooden boxes. Do you
Yeah.
think polystyrene is better all round?
I think it's amazing. So
Yeah.
polystyrene keeps the bees cool in summer.
Yeah.
So they don't have to basically work hard keeping the hive cool.
Yeah.
And it keeps them warm in winter, which means they consume less food.
Yeah, okay.
And they don't need to be fed.
Okay.
I like polystyrene. I was sort of thinking about polystyrene is not sustainable, it's plastic. Generally, I don't have a problem with plastic as long as it's not single use.
Yeah.
The manufacturer of these in Denmark still has the original ones that they made. I think they're coming up in 40 years.
Right. And they're still using them.
Still using them.
Yeah.
And a wooden hive would, like, no matter what type of wood it is, would be long gone.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Okay. And then just, I wanted to ask you about the lid then. Is it a specific type of lid?
no, this is just a bit of insulation
Yeah.
and then just a metal one. There's loads of different types. And you see, these are all the supers here that you
Yeah.
see up here on the pallets.
Yeah.
They were all full of honey at some stage during the year.
Yeah.
And now they're all in the buckets there.
Right. Okay.
That's my winter job. But
Lovely.
here's the entrance. This is the entrance to the hive here. So the bees will come in and out through this entrance here. And then depending on the strength of the hive, you know, I can reduce down the size of the entrance.
Okay, great. So look, that might have seemed like quite a lot there. We had a good long chat about that, but essentially we have our brood box, we have our supers to produce the honey, we have a lid, we have our smoker, we have our tool and our suit, and is that
That's it. That's basically it. Yeah.
But then the expertise.
That
I
comes
can
with
definitely
time.
order all that, but the next bit might be a little bit...
Trial and error.
Yeah. So look, that's all our equipment there, but it's no good if we don't have any bees. So like, where do we get bees from?
Bees, loads of different options.
Yeah.
Option one is free bees. Everyone loves things for free.
Free bees.
During the swarming season, free bees, exactly.
yeah.
During the swarming season, that's when the bees are trying to, I suppose, reproduce.
Yeah.
The old queen flies away with about 50% of the hives. Like, most hives will swarm every year if they get a chance, if they become overcrowded, different things. But that's your chance as a beekeeper or new beekeeper to go out and collect it. So when you see this big ball of bees hanging on a tree, hanging on a gate, they're waiting for a beekeeper to take them and put them in a box.
Okay.
That's one option.
Well, we might have to do another video on how do you manage to gather a big pile of bees.
Just shake them into a box.
Okay.
That's it. As long as you have the queen in there, they're happy. Another way is lots of beekeepers, as part of their swarm control, make new hives during the year, during the summer, and you can basically buy one of those.
Okay.
My advice is always to buy it in the spring because you're letting the beekeeper take the risk of basically getting them bees through the winter.
Okay.
So there's no point you buying a hive now, like in October, November, and putting it in your garden and not being able to even open it and just look at it all winter.
Yeah. So do you always lose a number of bees during the winter?
You do. So
Okay.
they say on average a good overwintering will be 10 to 15% losses.
Right.
Which is quite a lot, you know, 100 hives, maybe
Yeah,
10
yeah.
to 15 hives.
Okay.
I've known beekeepers to lose 40, 50%.
Yeah.
you know. So
Wow. Okay, depending on the winter.
exactly. Yeah,
All right,
depending
so
on the
there's a
winter.
number of options there, but as Ollie said earlier, if you join the beekeeping societies or whatever, I'm sure you can get
Yeah,
all that information
loads of
there.
information.
So we were really lucky here, and we got to taste a lot of Ollie's different flavoured honeys that you have here. Absolutely amazing, from gathering from this massive area up in the Dublin Wicklow Mountains. But if you want to taste them, so what, everybody goes to your website, Ollie's
Yeah, you can
Farm?
go to the website ollysfarm.ie. You can basically purchase online, or I got a list of stockists there around Dublin and Wicklow, or you follow me on the socials as well.
Yeah, highly recommended. Anyway, as I always say, thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to check out more videos from Quick Crop, check out our YouTube channel. If you want written information from me, updates every week, sign up for our newsletter. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.